Hello students, welcome to today's social studies class. We'll continue from the last class. We have discussed about the tanks. Tanks and groundwater part 1. So in the last class we were discussing about the uses of tanks. How they are useful for agriculture, washing animals, for drinking water of animals, how it improve the underground water level, and how the tank water was used for drinking in the ancient time, and how this water was used, and many lives are also depending upon this tanks, not only for their profession, but a person was appointed as a Neeru Kattumanshi who used to maintain their tanks. I explained you this all in the last class. And I also explained you why the tanks were not maintained by the villagers, and slowly the tanks declined, and it led to the decrease of underground water levels and also scarcity of water for irrigation for the farmers, and it led to the death of many of the farmers. Observing this situation, our government of Telangana brought a mission called Mission Kakatiya. You have seen a video about Mission Kakatiya, how KCR have introduced, and our irrigation minister have actively participated, and it led to a massive change in the digging of village tanks. Many tanks were enrolled in this, and now also you can verify the information how many, for which village how much amount is allotted for maintenance of the tank, is the work is done, everything. It is said that it is transparent work done by the government. You can check through different websites are released by this, and you can check whether the government has done this or not. Actually, not only farmers, there are many lives who are dependent upon tanks. Today we are going to learn about one of the life of such people who are completely dependent on tanks for fishing and selling them in the market. Their livelihood is fishing. Fishing in tanks. So as I told you, there were at least 8 to 9 tanks in olden days for a village. So near this tanks, many people used to live who completely depend upon the fishing. Provide livelihood for fisher folk. So as I said, tank is a livelihood for the fisher folks. Fisher folk. Folk means people. Folk means people. Fisher who depends upon the fishing. Folk means people. So here you can see traditional fishing community like Betta. Bettas are the community who completely depend upon fishing. They are also known as Gangaputra. So Bettas are also known as Gangaputras. And Gondla and Mudiraj. Mudiraj are also known as Telvagu. So these communities, these 3 communities, and now also we can observe, but nowadays many of these community people are shifting to towns, and they are doing different jobs also. So here you can observe these are mostly known as the fisher folk. Now let's find out more about their lives by visiting a village in Suryapet district. Are you ready to come with me to Suryapet? Let us go to Suryapet and visit Betavolu village. So let us know about Betavolu village. How this village got this name. So here we can observe Betavolu village. It is 16 kilometers from Kodada. Kodada, you know, Kodada is a name of a place, and it is 60 kilometers away from Kodada, but it is near to Suryapet. This Kodada is near to Suryapet. So Betavolu is a small village near Kodada, that is near Suryapet. Got its name from Betala Reddy. Who is this Betala Reddy? Betala Reddy, the subordinate of Kakatiyas. I told you in the last class that Kakatiyas were very famous in digging the tanks. So they used to appoint different subordinates to take the responsibility of digging the tanks in their areas. So here Betala Reddy was the subordinate of Kakatiyas. In his village, what did Betala Reddy did? In those days, the person who used to dig the tank, his name was dedicated for the tank. In this way, some people used to collect money and they used to dig tanks near temples also, or near the tanks they used to make temples so that they believe that God will see that the water is filled throughout the year, and for fishing also. They used to pray the God, and they used to give the names for the tanks for the people who dig, or the names of the God where they have shrines beside the tanks. So here you can see tank built in the name of his wife. So here Betala Reddy also built a tank, but he gave his wife's name, that is Veerala Devi. Since the tank was digged by Betala Reddy, he want that his wife's name should be given for that tank. What was her name? Veerala Devi. So tank slowly in the time Veerala Devi name was said as Veerala Devi. So the pronunciation changed there as Veerala Devi to Veerala Devi Cheru. So the name of the tank is Veerala Devi Cheru or Veerala Devi Cheru. Tank irrigates about 1,900 acres. Actually now it is irrigating 1,900 acres. But when the tank was digged, but originally it was meant to irrigate 3,000 acres of irrigating land. But slowly by the time the people started occupying and they started using the land for different purpose of the irrigation land was used in different purposes like constructing the factories or schools or the other purpose. Much part of the land was used by the people. That is the reason now only 1,900 acres are being irrigated with this Veerala Devi Cheru or Veerala Devi tank. So as I told you, the land in those days, as the population was also less and the irrigating land was more, that was also one of the reason that the 3,000 acres of land was cultivated by this tank. You can just imagine how large the tank would be, which is able to irrigate the large area of, that is 3,000 acres of land was irrigated. Nearly 1,100 part of the area is occupied for other reasons. Okay, on the tank bund situated shrines. So as I told you, so when there is a tank, even we can see many of the pilgrimages we can observe near the tanks or the rivers, or the, you can see near river Ganga there are many pilgrimage centers, or we can which are made with the temples. Like the same way, so they believe that because many of the lives are dependent upon them, they used to believe in the God and they used to offer prayers to the gods in the name of, they used to make shrines. Do you know what is a shrine? Shrine is actually not a temple. There is difference between a shrine and a temple. What is the difference between a shrine and temple? A shrine is nothing but a small place like this. A small, they make like this, a small shed for the god, and the god is placed like this. It is known as a small shrine. Nowadays they are constructing small rooms for the same gods. But in the olden days they used to maintain shrines like this, and they used to pray the god either under the tree. They used to make small shrines and they used to pray. So the goddess which was named here is Katta Maisamma and Ganganamma. These two ideals. So there was no big idol. A stone was kept like this and which was applied with the turmeric and beautifully decorated with the flowers, and at the time of the seasons they used to go to this prayer worship places. They offer different offerings of their crop or the fishing or whatever according to their community. They used to believe, they used to offer to Katta Maisamma and Gangamma. So they use their worship gods are Katta Maisamma and Gangamma. So here 600 families of Besa and Mudiraj community in Betavolu at present they are, and out of 600 families only 60 to 70 are depending upon the fishing. Then what about the others? As I told you, some are family members, and even family members are also dependent upon this work, where it is said that women stay at home and the men go for fishing and they bring, entire family is involved in this, and some people who are well educated, they are going for their professions. And fish in the month of actually they doesn't fish the entire year. There is a specified time for fishing. So fish in the month of March and April. So other times they go for work at different fields and they go for other professions. So only these 2 months they carry on their profession, their ancient profession. So here fishes in the tank. So what kind of fishes are found in this tank? That is Veerara Devi Cheru. What kind of fishes are there? At present, in those days there were many varieties of fishes were found. They were, you can see in the book, that is here you can see Buddha Parakalu and Jalalu, Kodipelu and Chandamamalu, Kattumukkalu and Koramenu, Valugalu, etc. Like this, many kinds of varieties were there once upon a time. Then after a period of time, some fishes were considered as poisonous and they were avoided by the food research of government. And after that, depending upon the demand in the market of the fishes were started cultivated by the fishermen in special tanks where like this tanks and other special tanks were also made to cultivate the fishes in them. So here you can see they started selecting special type of fishes where they have more demand in the market, they can be sold, or according to the demand of the people, what kind of fishes they are asking, according to them they started cultivating the fishes. How they were cultivated? Young fishes are breed artificially, means artificially they breed in the farm, and in fish farming centers, actually they breed in the fish farming centers and are let out as seedlings. They bring the seedlings into the tank, and after they leave the tank for a long period of time, they provide the food for the fishes, let the fishes grow for a long period of time, and then they go for fishing. And what were the variety of fishes which are grown in the farming centers? We will observe here. The fishes are, the types of fishes are, you can observe, Mergi and Rabba, Bocha and Bangaru Tiga. So these are the 4 varieties of fishes which have demand in the market, so they are being cultivated, farmed by the fishermen. You can observe here what type of nets. You can observe here. So for fishing, what type of nets they use? Net type. Net types. used. So the two types of nets, they have different names. That is, for example, this is a net. You can observe the net like this, and depending upon the hole, which is known as kannulu. So these kannulu are nothing but the holes. In English they are known as holes. So depending upon there were two types of nets. One is doddu vara and one is sannapu vara, where the holes are very thin. Sannapu vara. So these two are used for different purposes. So here you can see small perisha. It is also known as small perisha or thinner net we call it. You can see the holes are very thin here. Here the holes are very wide. So here the fishing with the sannapu vara is done only up to 60. It has only 60 kannalu. So we can say it is a small net compared to this doddu vara. So here it has 60 kannalu. And doddu vara is used for catching 100 grams to 5 kgs of fish. Whereas a sannapu vara catches small fishes and prawns. So these are the uses. So not only they are used for different purposes, but they have to be maintained by the fishermen regularly. They also have a small kit in which they have a needle and different bunch of thread which is same like the net wire. It is also used for stitching the nets whenever it get damages, and different tools like knife is also used to cut and make the proper stitching of the nets. So kachuvala, and here we have studied about this. Now fishing. Fishing, they start at early morning 4 o'clock. As I told you, early morning 4 o'clock. It is said that where the tank is very silent and the fishes are also in the sleepy state. So it is very easy for them to catch fishes. And when the village people wake up, definitely there can be a sound. So to catch the fish, they need a lot of patience, and the surroundings should be very silent. So they choose the time of early morning 4 to 8 o'clock. They fish and they come back. When they come back, here starts the work of women. What they do, they start, the women take these fishes, go to market and then sell. Have you ever seen the fisherwomen selling? Have you ever seen any men sitting and selling the fishes? This is what the reason that they have divided their work in like this, and the men go for the fishing and the women sell the fishes in the market. So and the other times women go for the other works and men also go for the other works. Only 2 months they carry on this. Now cooperative societies. They have different cooperative societies so that they need financial help. The membership, they have to take the membership decided on the base of the I-cut. So based on the I-cut, what is I-cut? I-cut is the place near which is cultivated by the farmers. So here how much area they are taking. Usually the society takes 1 member per 1 hectare and 2.5 hectares. 1 to 2.5 hectares. There are 339 members in the society today. The society pays rupees 2,35,000 to the Department of Fishing and Fishing in the tanks. The society has to purchase fish seedlings. Just now I told you the seedlings which are used to grow in the tanks. They buy these seedlings and put them into the tanks. They are supposed to pool the produce and share the earning equally among all members. So since the society is giving for everyone, the members should see that it is equally shared by everyone. And like this, the community help them in different ways. Like this, we can observe how government is also giving some loans for them, and they are providing different. But it is very difficult to get any loan for them. As I told you, it is given on the base of community, and it should be shared by everyone in the community. If they are not the part of cooperative societies, then they doesn't get any kind of benefits. Since they depend upon the tank doesn't give any surety to the bank, so they doesn't get any kind of loans from the bank. So they have to be the part of cooperative societies. Then only they get the benefits like the seedlings, nets, etc. So this is how we have completed part 1 of tanks and groundwater. What happened to the water which goes under the ground? Let us learn this in the next class and answer all the questions which are in between this lesson. See you again in the next class.